Hey guys, welcome to my Vampirism Fire tutorial series. I'm going to go over a brief description of what Vampirism Fire is for anyone who's not familiar with the map. It's very similar to Trolls vs. Elves if you've ever played that game type, but if you've not played that game type, Vampirism Fire is essentially a survival tag type map where humans are pitted against vampires. The goal of the vampires are to wipe out all the humans and convert them to their own, while the humans want to build a base and fortify defenses to keep out the vampires. Overall, it's a very highly skill-based and strategic game to master. Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be going over the very basics of how to play Vampirism Fire as a human. I'm going to be going over very simple concepts in this video. In future tutorials, I'll be going over more advanced concepts, strategies, and tactics. I'm going to be going over how to start your lumber route, what upgrades you need to do in the very beginning of the game, and just very basic concepts of the game, how to lay out your base, and how to survive your first basic attack. So vampires spawn in 60 seconds, so what you want to do immediately is start blinking away, and you want to start training harvesters to harvest lumber. So you start by making a few houses and a tent. The tent will increase your food capacity, and then you start training workers. You select your houses, and you press W to train workers. And you essentially just blink around the map making small lumber camps, and until you get to the max capacity, which is 250 out of 250 wood. You want to avoid having large groups of structures early in the game because it will attract vampires a lot more if you have a lot of buildings in your base. The more buildings and structures and units you have in your base, the more it's going to feed the vampires. And when vampires see this, they're going to be attracted to it. Until you start your main base, you want to make small lumber camps consisting of around 3 houses and a few tents. And this will give you a less chance that the vampire tries to go for them. Okay, so now that we're at a max Q, the first thing you want to do is build a research center. Alright, so this has a bunch of upgrades, but we'll get into that as time goes on. But the first thing you want to do, the moment you build a research center, is start your lumber upgrade. Improved lumber harvesting right here. So once you, there's 4 different upgrades. You get 3 upgrades of improved lumber harvesting, and then you get sharpened hatchets. That's your last upgrade. Once you get this last upgrade, like it says right there, doubles the lumber gathering speed of all workers. That's very important later in the game. If you don't get it, you're going to have a really tough time getting the more expensive structures and units later in the game. So while that's going, we got lots of lumber. So once you make your first research center, now you want to build a Slayer Tavern. Your Slayer Tavern spawns a hero, and there's a female and a male. They both have the same abilities, doesn't matter which one you get. So I'm going to get the male. So while this is researching, you're going to wait for that to research. Now my lumber upgrade just finished. I'm going to start the next one. And you want to generally try not to make your research center Slayer Tavern, or if you make more than one research center, try not to make them all in the same base, because that will also target vampires. Just like having a lot of feet in a base, each one of these structures gives about 3 gold, and if vampires see 2 or 3 of these in a base, they're going to try to go for it. Or just to slow you down, because if they kill your structure, they're going to have to end up restarting the upgrade. So you blink a couple bases away, you make another research center. So while this first one is going researching my lumber, I've got another one here, and you're going to upgrade Slayer Adept Training, but only get that once. And that increases the Slayer's health points to 750, the damage by 20, and armor by 5, and mana by 500. The main reason you get this upgrade is to increase your mana count, and I'll explain in a few minutes. But just make sure to get the first upgrade, it's really important. See, my lumber upgrade just finished, I'm going to get the next one. So my Slayer Tavern just finished right now. Alright, so I got my Slayer now. To level him up, the Slayer pit, it's right over here. It's got a big text over it. You blink in here. So now wait, I got 10 seconds until the end of the minute. At the end of every minute is when your Slayer levels up. So you want to make sure your Slayer is inside this pit when the time comes. So it's about to happen right now, and I'm going to level up. So right there, now I leveled up. You can also level up by killing, when vampires kill a human, all of their structures will turn to black buildings, and if you kill them with your Slayer, you end up gaining more experience. Just like this player left, and for every building I kill, I gain a small amount of experience. To get gold in this game, other than having a gold mine, for every unit and structure that a vampire kills, he has a random % chance to drop a gold coin when he kills the structure. If you see a gold coin leaked, you blink your Slayer and you pick up the gold coin, and that's how you get gold before gold mines. Just like this. Gold coin here. Pick it up with your Slayer. Bam, you got a gold coin. You also level up when you pick up gold coins. Okay, so once you finish your lumber upgrades and the Slayer Adept training, you want to get one more upgrade for now. And this is basically the last upgrade you'll get until later in the game. You want to get Worker Motivation. And what this does is it increases the health points of your harvesting units. It's very important to get. If you don't get it, the vampires will feed on your workers a lot easier. They'll have a lot easier time getting them. So in this game, you don't want to fully start your base until you have enough for a gold mine. So once you've got enough for a gold mine, you generally want to wait until you have about 25 to 30,000 wood. And there's an ability on your human and it basically converts lumber to gold. So for 3,000 lumber, you can turn it into a gold. So you want to press this twice. Now you've got 2 gold. So now what you want to do is you build a human vault, which looks right here, human vault. Build that somewhere in your base. And the moment you do that for the first time, it also spawns what's called a barricade builder. Now this unit is used to build a temporary wall, which essentially is an invulnerable wall. Like, the vampires will not be able to kill it until it expires. But once you build this thing, you can see in Reforged, this needs to be fixed, but you can't see in the title. It will be fixed in future versions. But normally there's a time limit in the name, and basically once you build this wall for the first time, in 60 seconds it's going to expire. So that means you have 60 seconds to start building your base before you have to worry about vampires coming, if they're going to end up coming. So now, to make a gold mine, you build a house, you upgrade it to a lumber house. You need 1 gold and 3,000 lumber to do that. Now you can build a gold mine, and right here, gold mine with your human. Just build that somewhere in your base. Now, at the end of the minute, just like Slayer levels, at the end of the minute is when you get gold income, just like your Slayer level. So in 5 seconds, I'm going to gain 2 gold. Once that happens, now you can make the next level of harvester, which is called Furball harvesters. If you type in -W, it's short for dash worker, it'll jump to the nearest tier 1 harvesters on the map. It makes it so, because you're going to need to detonate them. Since we're at a full food cap, we detonate a few of them, and now we can train Furball harvesters. So that command just jumps to them a lot easier than trying to find them on the map. So now that we've got some harvesters here, we now need to make a wall, because we're naked right now. The vampires could easily just run into our base and kill everything. So what you do is you train an orc builder here, which I just trained, a tower builder, and he can build walls, an amethyst wall here. So you're gonna build it always build them in the middle of the entrance. If you build it here, you can use your Slayer for reference, but a Slayer is the same size as a vampire, and if you build it too far here, a vampire or Slayer could walk right past. So you want to build it in the middle of the entrance, right around here. Once you do that, you also want to build houses right behind your wall like this, a half space away. A half space away for reasoning is you can fit your human, and if you wanted to use furbolgs, you can fit them around the wall. The reason you build these houses here is if you don't have anything blocking behind the wall, vampires can hire. If you look over here, this is their shop where they can summon little minion units to help them. They've got things like Shade, Frenchman, and various other units. And they are the sizes of a human, or a furbolg, or any of these little tiny units. And they can fit in the cracks of your wall. If you don't have any houses, like a Shade, for example, is an invisible unit, and he can go right into your base, and the vampire can end up teleporting to that Shade and killing it. Another tip, by the way, if vampires get a Shade in your base, and they teleport to it, like if they buy a teleport staff, and they teleport into your base, then you're going to be doomed. But you can spawn a tracker. If you use your Slayer, once you get a level 5 Slayer, you can spawn a tracker like this. And this unit essentially reveals invisible units. So if there was a Shade in my base, this would reveal it. Alright, so anyways, back to the wall. Now that you built the houses here, you want to make sure to upgrade your wall as fast as possible. A sapphire wall is the first decent wall that can hold most vampires. So once this completes, we're going to start getting a new upgrade. So you go to your research center, and you want to upgrade gem quality. And this increases the wall health points overall of your wall. And it's really important to have, because vampires have an ability called Critical Strike, which is a random chance to do extra damage to whatever they're attacking, essentially. So if you have more health points on your wall, the Critical Strike is going to have less effect on your wall. So it's very important to get. And just overall means you have more health points. So anyways, if a vampire was attacking me, your human has a repair ability, and you want to repair the wall. And if you find that the wall is dropping way too fast, then you can use your Furball harvesters. They've got a blink ability and a repair ability, just like your human. You blink them onto your wall and you repair the wall. If you find that the vampire has an ability called Chain Lightning, which basically sends a chain lightning bolt at your units, and it will do damage. So you need to have heal towers. So you use your orc or your human to build a heal tower, just like this. And once that's done, it has an ability called heal. And you can essentially heal your units, so that's really important to get, because if you don't ever get a healing tower, you're going to eventually die from chain. Okay, so I'm going to give a brief description of what the attack towers do in this game. Or no, I'm not going to go into much detail, just give a basic description of some of the lower tier towers, essentially. So the first tower that you can build is called a Tower of Pearls. Your human builds it. They're very weak towers. They don't really do much to a vampire, even early in the game, but they can upgrade into stronger towers. So I'm going to build one over here. Okay, so there's two options. You've got Opal Spire and Mana Energy Tower. I'll start with the Mana Energy Tower. So once you build this, for to finish, it doesn't do a lot of damage. It's not about the damage, but it has an ability. Every time this tower hits a vampire, it takes 200 mana from them, which is very important because if a vampire has no mana, he can't heal, he can't use his chain lightning, he can't use any abilities, or at least that require mana, which I'm pretty sure all of them do, except for Windwalk. All right, but crap. Well, I have a bot in the game, so I gotta watch out for him. But anyways, the vampire can buy an item called Resistance Shield here. And basically that will give him 100% mana resistance. So if he has that item, this tower is not going to do anything. So this tower is really only good on average in most games. Vampires usually get 2 shields. If it's 2 decent vampires, they'll get 2 shields around, I would say, 8 or 9 minutes. But this tower is really good until then, especially if they do not have a resistant shield. These towers are great to have. Okay, let's build them up here. Alright, so the other variation is an Opal Spire, which it has medium damage. It's if you get maybe 6 or 7 of these up until probably 10 minutes, they do decent damage. They can definitely do some more to the vampires. But the Opal Spire is what opens you to a brand new teching of towers. You got plenty. These are the main towers of the game. You've got a Flame Tower, Calcite Outpost, a Pink Diamond Tower, Wall of Seeing, Time Tower, Frost Tower, and a Blood Tower. So a Flame Tower, I would say a Flame Tower is the main towers that you'd want to get early game, from all the way from 0 until even 20 minutes. They're great towers to have. And they can also upgrade. There's multiple tiers. There's the first one, which is Flame Tower. There's a Super Flame Tower and an Ultimate Flame Tower, which the higher tiers do more damage and they have more range. They're overall a good tower early game. I would say if you even get 3 or 4 of these, you're going to be doing really good damage up until probably 15 and 20 minutes, depending on what items the vampires have and what their stats are. Calcite Outposts also do really good damage, but Calcites are nice because unlike Flame Towers takes quite a long time to upgrade, whereas Calcites are about half the upgrade time. If a vampire shows up out of nowhere and he surprises you and you need quick damage, Calcite Outposts are great to have. And they also have an ability that each consecutive attack against the same target increases their attack speed by 10%, up to a maximum of 200%. And the effect is lost after not attacking for 10 seconds. So you want to attack the same target, is the idea, and it eventually builds attack speed, which is a really good thing to have if they're staying at your wall. Pink Diamond Towers, they do alright damage, but they have more uses later in the game. I'm not going to explain them now. I'll explain them in a future tutorial because they have a lot more uses later in the game. Wall of Seeing is a tower that reveals invisible units. It's usually not. I wouldn't get it until probably 15 minutes plus. It's not needed until then. And after that, though, sometimes vampires can get invisible items that make them invisible, like a Cloak of Shadows, and then they can be nice to reveal them. The Time Tower. When you build this tower, it's a very weak tower when you build it, but it gains 200 damage every minute that it's alive. So it can be very nice. If you build this and wait 20 minutes, it can be doing a lot of damage. It's really good, and it's really effective at killing Infernals, which we'll get to in later tutorials. Frost Tower. Here, let me just turn my music down a little bit here. A little bit too loud. Okay, like I was saying, a Frost Tower. It does alright damage, but it's more about its ability, and it essentially slows the vampire when it attacks. It's a slow tower essentially. Vampire takes damage, his movement speed is gonna be slowed drastically. And a Blood Tower, it does medium damage, but it's more about its ability again, because every time it attacks a vampire, it deducts 1 armor from him. But you need to make sure that you're attacking the same unit. If you switch units, it's going to reset the stacks. But it's a very good unit, especially it's like the Calcite Tower. If a vampire is staying at your wall, the longer that he stays at your wall, the longer this tower is attacking, the more his armor is going to be reduced, and your other towers are going to be taking his health away. Okay, so another tower. Your orc builder here, your tower builder, can build a tower called a Wall Tower. So you want to replace your houses with wall towers. Oops, sorry. Let me place that better. Make sure there's no gaps, otherwise units can get in. Okay, so while those are building, I'll quickly pop over here. The vampire shop over here, they can spawn units called Frenchmen, and I'll have a little video clip showing what they do. But if the vampires end up spawning Frenchmen, then you need to make wall towers really fast if they're going for you. And they have an ability called attack ground. And you basically want to attack the ground right near your human. Because if the Frenchmen get close enough to your human, they can attack you, and they have melee damage, and they can kill your human quite fast with a few hits, especially combined with a chain lightning from the vampires. To kill the Frenchmen, you essentially build these wall towers, and the ground ability kills Frenchmen very easily. And it also kills shades. If you have shades or other invisible units sitting at your wall, then they can usually kill them very easily.
Yes, my lord.
I cannot summon them.
Our town is under siege. Job done.
Be happy to.
Job done. Job's done.
Something need doing.
Job done. Job's done. Yes, my lord. Forward. Upgrade complete. Yes, my lord. Yes, my lord.
Alright, I think I'm going to end the tutorial here. I just covered the very basics. I'll be making more tutorials covering more advanced concepts, researches, upgrades, towers, and overall strategies and everything. I'll be covering that in more videos to come, and I'll have vampire tutorials coming very soon. So thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions or you want something specific to be taught, just post in the comments, and I'll get around to it.
Off I go then.
And thanks for watching. Have a good one.